Howdy folks, I hope you're well. Welcome to RPI Live. Remember, you can watch us on Facebook, my timeline, our RPI page, our RPI group. You can also watch us on rpilive.com as well. So there are lots of places that you can watch us. And you can tell your friends about all of those places as well. So the first thing to do is say hi. The second thing to do is say that I'm doing 2 competitions live on this show tonight. I'm just checking that people can see me all right. 1 second, guys. I'm doing 2 competitions tonight. Hang on, guys, 1 second. Just gone. It's disappeared on me, folks. 1 second. We'll find it, I promise. 1 second. Evening, everybody that's tuning in. I just want to make sure that everybody can... Well, I assume everybody can hear me all right. Tell me if you can't. But I'm assuming you can. I was blown away by the... I'll be with you in a second. I'm sorry. I was blown away by the views we had on the... I don't know how long it was, actually. I did a whole walk around of Blackpool, which we'll talk about later, but... Thank you to everybody that shared it. That video's already had over 14,000 people watch it. And I'll tell you, one of the things with using this new software is the new software is great because it allows me to broadcast into all of these different places and everything. But what it actually does is it kind of fragments the viewing figures. So like I can see now on our group, on our page, we've got 31 people watching it. On YouTube, we've got 3 people watching it. On my personal timeline, I've got 17 people watching it. And then within our RPI group, we've got 26 people watching it. And that's great that people can choose where they want to watch it and get notified and what have you. But what it doesn't do is it kind of fragments the viewing figures a little bit, if that makes sense. So like on Saturday when I went around Blackpool, I just put it out onto the RPI page. That's all I did. And actually it's nice to see because already 14,000 people have watched that movie, have watched the video. And we've reached over 30,000 people with just showing people around Blackpool. So actually it's quite nice to go old school and just go on the video on the phone and show people around, and it's nice to see that so many people watched it. Like I said, it's great that so many people are watching now. Like we've got 60. How many have we got? We've got 100 people virtually watching now. We've got actually 95 people watching right as we speak, which is great, and it makes me feel very grateful. So thank you. But yeah, over 14,000 people watched the video of Blackpool already. So I'm doing 2 competitions, live competitions tonight. Both competitions are for this brand new Who Knows Wins DVD, which I gave away a copy last week. We launched this DVD at Blackpool weekend just gone. You can win, there's 2 available this week over the course of this show. All right. The first competition is to enter the competition. All you have to do is share RPI Live as we are online. All right. All you've got to do is just share it. Anybody that shares the TV show tonight will be in the draw to win a copy of this DVD. The reality of it is, how I'm going to pick it up is I'm just going to scroll through all the people that have shared, and I'm going to pick somebody randomly, right? So actually the reality is the more times you share it, the more entries you get. So first competition is share it at least once and you're in the draw. Share it as many times as you want to different groups, to your timeline, to friends, all of that stuff. The more you share it, the more entries essentially you get. And we will do now technically I'm going to try and do the draw for the sharing competition at the end. May not be able to do that. I may have to actually end the show and then do it. So we'll see. So share it once, you're in the draw to win a copy of this. We'll post it to you anywhere in the world. It doesn't matter where you live. I'll post you a copy of this. And if it's easier for you to get the online version of it, you'd prefer the online version of it, that's fine as well. We can do that. The second competition, like I said, I'm giving 2 of these away tonight. The second competition is simply telling us the best comment, right? So let's go with the best comment why you would like a copy of this, right? So all you have to do to enter to win, it's obviously very subjective. I will pick what I think is the best comment as to why you would like one of these copies. Start off your comment with DVD. Just put DVD and then your comment. Why would you like a copy of this? And I will give what I think is the best response to that question. What I think the best response is as to why you would like a copy of this DVD. I will also pick that out, and we will definitely do that live at the end of the show. So 2 chances to win this DVD. Share at least once and you're in the draw. Share as many times as you can. The more times you share, great. That's the first competition. The second competition is why you would like a copy of this DVD, and the best comment that I think is what I think is the best. You will also get a copy, or the online copy as well. I know personally I own a little DVD thing that I attach to my computer, but I would much prefer the online version. It's up to you. You can have the physical one or the online one. So there's the 2 competitions. So there we go. There's the competitions. Right. So let's catch up with some comments and then we will crack on. Evening, Dean McKee. I hope you're well. Jeffrey Abel is a regular watcher now. I enjoyed Blackpool. It was very tiring, but I enjoyed it a lot. Evening to PJ Power. I hope you're well. Soren Dudu, how you doing, mate? Stephen Morga. Evening to you too. Kenny Burns, thank you for the confirmation. Gary Tomlinson, evening all. Gary's watching. Good evening to you, Peter Dodd. Andrew Walton, evening. David Armstrong's watching. Andrew Agnew is watching. Zandy's watching. Zandy was up with me, and his girlfriend Ellie was up there as well in Blackpool at the weekend and helped us out, which was much appreciated. Sean Wilkinson's watching. Jason Wincop excuse me, is watching. Gary Stewart. Gary Tomlinson already marked the feedback is unbelievable regarding the DVD. When I said nothing was held back, I meant it. Good luck to all those that purchased it. Okay, so I've got comments coming in about the DVD, and I will run through those comments in a little while. So a little update on my stuff. I've had a busy weekend. I had a busy week last week actually, and house news. Yes, it is a regular feature until we actually do move house. Thank you to everybody that shared it. 108 people watching so far. My little house news is that supposed to be moving in on Saturday, this following Saturday, and that ain't happening because after all of the 3/4 of the walls were took back to brick and plastered and repainted and all of that stuff. I was told on Thursday by an electrician I know, listen mate, this needs rewiring. So it's currently being rewired and we ain't moving in on Saturday. So there's house news. Also, if you're not, so next thing, if you're not a member of the RPI Facebook group, one, you should be, and two, we are just about to approach 6,000 members. And I'm going to put in a comment now as to where in the comments where you can join the group. And there's another good reason to join the group, in addition to the fact that there's a lot of cool people in there and it's a really good community. And that fact is that we're actually in that group giving another copy of the Widowhood Who Knows Wins Ultimate Widowhood system out there as well. In the group, it's a group offer. We have a lot of specific group things going on. I've got a lot more plans within the RPI group. So with the last time I looked, this afternoon, we were about 50-60 members off 6,000, which is pretty impressive considering it's only been going since September. And thank you to everybody that's in there, and it's a good group, and go and join. So yes, amazing. The sharing has worked. We've got. We had 154 people watching now, so thank you very much, folks. Much appreciated. It means a lot. Right. So, I will catch up with more comments on why you should have the DVD later on. Evening to you, Jim Benyon. Sean Haig, evening to you as well. It would be good just to remember, just put DVD in there so it's easier for me to see the comments regarding to the DVD. Miguel's watching. Thank you very much for watching, Miguel. Right, next thing, Blackpool show. I haven't been to Blackpool since 2015, and 2015 was the first time that I went for quite a few years. And so I didn't quite know what to expect. I'd heard some people saying it's not as good as it used to be. I'd heard some people saying that like Doncaster was the best show and all that stuff. To me, from many years ago as a teenager and into my 20s, Blackpool was the pinnacle event of pigeons for the year. So I kind of went up there not really knowing what to expect. I got up there later than I wanted to be honest. Had a whole complete nightmare down here in Leicester on Friday. I won't bore you with the details, but I was in court. And before anybody says it, no, we weren't in court for me doing anything wrong. It was actually Gabby that was in court taking a garage to court that had been going on for over 12 months now. Long story short, she bought a car, or I bought a car with her for her, and eventually when she tried to sell the car, it turned out to be a Cat D write-off and nobody told us. And they've been messing us about 12 months, and finally D-Day was on Friday, and after 5 hours of messing around, they finally settled without even going into the judge. So I didn't get back till later than I wanted. We didn't get into Blackpool until like 7:30, which was a little bit too late, but is what it is. So yeah, I got up there Friday night, met up with Gary, met up with Aaron, but I'd got auctions that I wanted to go to. Now, people may ask why I go to auctions if I'm not interested in buying at the moment. Although saying that, Zandy bid on some on Saturday night, but that's another story, and didn't win. I like to see what's going on. From a commercial point of view, there's a lot of pigeons up there for sale. But I also like to see, it fascinates me, the auction. So there was 2 auctions specifically I wanted to go and see on the Friday night. And I did. And there was some expensive pigeons being sold, and there was some bargains, in my opinion, being sold. With regards to the auctions, the auctions of pigeons on the Saturday, we actually went to 3. And the Night with the Stars auction had some averaging $4,500 per pigeon. One went for 17,000. I had a lot of feedback about, a lot of people were talking about why would you pay that for a pigeon, what have you. But again, it's all relative. We've talked about it's all relative before. What I will say is this, that actually the last auction that we went to on a Saturday night, the NFC auction at the Grand Hotel, that genuinely did have some bargains in it. Weirdly, or not surprisingly maybe, Zandy picked out lot 18. Sean Madonna, four pigeons were in there. Lot 18 at the NFC auction was a beast of a young cock, and he picked it out, and I had to agree with Zandy. It was a lovely looking pigeon, and I said to Zandy a certain amount to go up to if he really wanted it, and it went for 6 times more. It went for 1,200 quid. It was the most expensive pigeon in the NFC auction. But there were some real bargains there, to be fair. And again, it's that trends thing, you know. It's that trends. The pedigrees don't look fancy, but actually, when you look at the numbers in there and you look at the results, they're amazing. The results are amazing of some of these lots. And at the end of the day, the harsh reality of the commercial side of this sport is it's actually like a lot of other areas of life, and it's trend based. And there's no getting away from that. It's trend based. Because I tell you now, if some of those pigeons in that NFC auction had other flyers' names on them with the same results, and a fancy typed pedigree with perhaps a couple of photos and an eye on it, those pigeons would have fetched a lot more money. But because they hadn't perhaps got the popular name, that's one argument. No, and what I'm saying is, that's not taking away anything from the flyers that put these up. And there was a lot of flyers in this auction. I'm guessing there was, I don't know, 10 people in the auction. They all had a couple of lots in each. Amazing flyers, some unknown ones, some new ones, some old ones as well. Like, you know, some amazing lots from Jeff Kirkland. Amazing flyer, old school flyer, but not going for the kind of money that you perhaps would expect. Some new flyers, a particular flyer called Cosmin from Romania, with some amazing results and some amazingly bred pigeons, but weren't going for the money that I would like to see them go for. Now, is it because they're not continental pigeons? Maybe. Is it because they're not in vogue pigeons? Maybe. Interestingly, the most expensive pigeons that sold were all bought by the same person. And that same person bought all 4. We've got 161 people watching now across all of the channels and the network. Thank you very, very much. Much appreciated. I think that's the most watches we've had for a while now. 166 people watching now. means a lot to me. Thank you. And it means a lot that after Blackpool and all the people that I met, that we've got that many people watching. Of course, it doesn't hurt that so many people perhaps have shared it, but again, it's about getting it out there. It means a lot. Thank you. 166 people watching across the networks and 90 people watching on the RPI page alone. 7 people watching on YouTube. That doesn't sound a lot, but that's actually double the amount of people watching on YouTube that we normally have, which is great. Thank you. Thank you very, very much. It blows my mind that 45 people are watching me on my timeline, 35 are watching in the group, 87 people are watching on the page. Thank you. That makes me smile and means a lot to me. It really does. So yeah, going back to that one auction, 17 grand, averaging 4,500 per pigeon. Great auctioneer, Les Green. Pippa related auction, marketing and the promotions there. You go to the NFC auction, the official auction of the NFC, and like I said, I don't know what the average would be, but I would guess off the top of my head, I guess the average would be £250 to £300 per pigeon, and I think that the most expensive pigeon was £1,200, and the average, it has to be said, the average was built up there because 4 of those pigeons went for quite a lot, £1,200, I think £800, £500, £600. And the reason that happened is this, because the person that was selling them is having an entire clearance sale at the end of January. Good luck to him. He's raced amazingly, and then he's going to go and start racing with Pippa. So automatically, you buy those pigeons, within a year's time, they'll be doubled in value because you just can't get them anymore in the UK. In addition to it, lot 18 was in there. It was a beast of a kick-ass pigeon. And Zandy's getting a good eye now because Zandy picked out 18 as the one. I'll tell you what it reminded me of. It reminded me of this pigeon here. This pigeon here is the son of Golden Balls, which is Gary Tomlinson's best ever pigeon he ever had, and that's the son, and this has produced winners. It actually reminded me of the 2019 version of him. I like that big pigeon where you got 2 hands to hold them. But anyway, talking about the auctions, it's noticeable the price differences. But like I've said before, and I'll say again, it's down to marketing, it's down to branding, it's down to people. Why does one pigeon sell that's never raced itself, it's only paper-based breeding, sell for £17,000, and one pigeon that's either has raced itself and got results, or a sister or a brother of a winner, or a son or a daughter of a winner, only go and get. I saw a pigeon that was a son of a pigeon that was an absolutely amazing result, sell for £180 at the weekend. Why is that? Well, we know why it is. It's predominantly a UK based flyer, and it's down to that branding and marketing and that whole thing, and that's what it's down to. A massive disparity between the two types of auction. Simple as that. So 162 watching. Excellent. Thank you, folks. Really means a lot. So yeah, we did the auction thing, and which ultimately, like the last auction, the NFC auction finished at 9:30 on. Started at 9:30 on Saturday. Didn't finish until like 10:45. So we had to slot in some food in between the two auctions, come back, had a beer, and then that was that. Yeah, so that was interesting. With regards to the whole weekend in general, mad busy weekend, really did not have time to breathe, really. That's how I felt anyway. And as you know, I've said before, I'm not really an early morning person, so 7:30 in the morning getting up at weekends wasn't particularly what I would normally do, but it was a great weekend. I met some viewers of the show that I'd not met before. Chris Davis I met for the first time. Shout out to you, Chris, if you're on your break during work. Thank you for coming up and saying hello. Great to meet you finally. And it's really funny that you have so many people that you don't actually know. Mickey Brown came up. I had a coffee with him on Sunday morning. Now, Mickey's interesting because Mickey's only 2 or 3 years into the sport. He hasn't got the time to race himself. So what he's doing is he is accumulating, or he's getting together the best pigeons he can to breed, to one, send out to other people to race, and to enter into one-off races. So for those of you who've been around long enough, you know my three-phase, three-tier plan that I keep banging on about. Mickey goes straight in, only 2 or 3 years in, to that phase 2. He's breeding pigeons. He wants to get these pigeons out into good fanciers, good flyers' hands to see what they can do, and he wants to compete in the one-off races. It was really good to chat to Mickey, and I hope to chat to him more. I met lots of people, and it's funny. What I will say is, with 150 people watching now and 82 people watching on the main page, which is the most we've had in a long time, I didn't have one single negative feedback or comment. Not one. I had people seeing me, saying hello to me, and every single comment to me was positive about what I'm trying to do with RPI. Now, I'm not naive, and I'm not naive enough to think that there weren't, of the thousands of people that weren't at the Blackpool show, that everybody thought I was great. Because I'm very aware that that is not the case with what I'm trying to do, or myself personally, or whatever. But what was interesting is that everybody that did come up to me had very positive things. I had people stopping me all the time. It's a weird thing. I don't know how well-known people do it, you know. It's a weird thing when you have people coming up to you. Some of them you may recognize off social media their faces, but I'm not great with names. I'm good with faces but not names. And it's a weird thing when you have that many people coming up to you over a course of a weekend and you don't actually know them. It's a weird thing, really weird. Every single person that I spoke to that came up to me, I had people specifically coming up to me to say thank you for what I was doing, and it was all positive. Didn't have one single negative, and I would have welcomed that as long as it was a constructive negative comment, but I didn't have one. Like I said, not naive enough to think that some people there didn't want to talk to me because they thought I was whatever they thought I was in a negative sense. But it's interesting that with the amount in the 10 months that I've had with RPI and everything I'm doing, it's interesting that with all some of the negative stuff I've had, and I've had a lot in the past, not one single one of those people that perhaps made that negative comment didn't actually say anything to my face. Which tells you a lot. But I was blown away by the amount of people thanking me and congratulating me and all of the positive comments. It was genuinely heartwarming, and thank you. I had people thanking me for the coverage I've been doing at the different races and the different events. And again, on the comments on the on the Blackpool video that we did, people thanked me on as I was doing it, saying it's like being there and thank you for showing us around. And that makes everything that I'm doing with RPI worthwhile. Virtually halfway into the show, don't forget that if you've just joined, we've still got 150 people watching now, which is mind-blowing. If you would like to win a copy, we're giving away 2 copies of this DVD tonight. The Who Knows Wins Ultimate Widowhood System from Gary Tomlinson. If you would like to win a copy, there are 2 ways you can enter tonight. I know people that have been on since the beginning would say get on with it, Mark. But there's a lot of people that come in halfway through that may have missed it. We have a competition for this DVD, the new DVD from Gary. To enter, just share the TV show tonight at least once and you're in. If you would like to share it more, then essentially how we're going to do the draw, it gets you more entries in. The second way of winning one of these tonight is to simply start off, put a comment saying DVD, and then tell me why you would like to receive a copy of this DVD. And I will pick what I think is the best reason out, and I will give one of these DVDs as well tonight to the best answer. So 2 ways of winning this tonight. Actually, there's a third way, which finishes tomorrow. Go and join the RPI Facebook group if you haven't already. We are just about to approach 6,000 people in the group, and we are giving one of them away tomorrow. Competition closes tomorrow as well. So that's that done. So yeah, going back to Blackpool, I know from being around Gary's stand that it's the best Blackpool that he's ever had. I know from the guy next to Gary's stand, it's the best Blackpool he's ever had. And 2 very different types of pigeon related stands. Tells you a lot. To me, the Saturday was very busy. The Sunday started off slow, got busy, dropped off, which is a normal Sunday. There's an argument that actually the Blackpool show itself should just be one day. I think you could do that where it's a concentrated in on a Saturday. But to me, it was Blackpool as I remember it. It was certainly Blackpool from 2015 when I went the last time I went. Zandy said the same. And I think it's a hell of a show. I think perhaps it wouldn't look as busy as some other shows because it's so spread out across multiple different rooms. I enjoyed Blackpool, although it was a tiring time. I think it's a great... I still think it's a great show. It's the only time I've ever been to Blackpool in January where the sun's actually been out, which is always a bonus. So, that was Blackpool for me. Let's catch up with some comments and then we will crack on with other stuff. I will come back to the DVD comments as part of the thing later on. Paul Graham's watching. Rolf is watching over in Norway. Welcome to you, Rolf. Budgie McLeod says the difference between this year and last year I thought was massive. I think Blackpool is on its way out. Wow, interesting, Budgie. Interesting. Night with the Stars, 2 sold for 17k and 1 15k, and both had nothing to do with Kittle. They turned out to be Vanderbilt birds. Evening to Cheyenne. Timothy O'Brien. I did have a good time in Blackpool. Yes, Gary. So Zandy is learning from what he's explained to him about a pigeon and handling of it. Definitely. Mick Hessian, it was nice to meet you too, mate. Money for pigeons is down to what is the modern day pigeon mark or the fashion. Most fancies have better in their own loft, from Gary. Again, it's fashion, it's breeding, it's marketing. You know? Dave Ward has seen a bird sold at auction in Blackpool that won 7 races, sold for 300 quid. This sums up what I'm talking about, Dave Ward. So Dave saw a pigeon in Blackpool sold for £300 that had won 7 races. Sold a young bird. He saw a young bird sold for 17,000 that didn't win anything and hadn't even been let out. And I agree with what you're saying. There's a massive disparity. But again, branding, marketing, UK. I will guarantee you that pigeon that won 7 races that sold for £300 was a British or Irish pigeon. It was not a continental pigeon. And this is the trouble we have. Guy says it was okay. Mark would like to be on the show basically to help the novice lenses with regards to where they should be at this time, i.e. breeding. Yeah. So we didn't do it this week because we were busy and getting back from Blackpool. But next week we will have Gary on as a guest, and he will answer any questions about breeding and the setting up of breeding and getting that going. So that will happen. So where are we on the comments? Thank you, Graham White, for sharing. Mick Hessen said he enjoyed Blackpool this year more than others. Budgie said he's not trying to be a buzzkill. That's fine, Budgie. It's your opinion, and that's very valid. He said that there was definitely twice the amount of pigeons for sale and a lot more stands last year. Interesting. I'm good, Mickey. I had a good weekend, thank you. Jack Pigeons Lavender said Blackpool definitely got worse in the last 10 years, and even from the last year, no stalls on the balcony, and say 5 years ago when the transporter was there like sardines, but not anymore. I did say to Zandy that the balcony used to have stands on it and it didn't anymore. Tom Swift says Pagey Money takes a chance. I assume he remembers I assume he's talking about expensive pigeons versus not so. Gary Tomlinson, remember Mark, I told you which sale to go to. There was probably the cheapest pigeons in Blackpool. You did, Gary. And that's the thing, you see. That's what I'm talking about. It's marketing. Those, I know because I spoke to somebody that was there. These particular pigeons we're talking about were sold on Saturday afternoon and did not go for a lot of money. And they are probably the best pigeons, in Gary's opinion, that were in the whole of Blackpool. Reece Sheldon says, who enjoys like being sardines? Anyhow, not for me. Great show this year. I completely agree, Reece. I hate the sardine effect. Kenny Burns says, show was a great success. Enough stalls for what you need. Just saying how many people aren't there. It's better to walk around. Jack Lavender says, wish the sales were a bit closer together or use the Winter Gardens for more sales. That's a valid point, Dean McKee. What does it cost for a pitch stall stand at Blackpool? I don't know, actually, Adrian. Good question. It depends on the square footage and the frontage and all of that stuff. So, yeah. Look, there's my take on Blackpool. I thought it was a good thing. Obviously, others are saying it wasn't as busy. Certainly from sitting on that stand 60-75% of the time at Gary's stand and being around there, I thought Saturday was incredibly busy. And like I said to you, based on the numbers of entries, Gary's had the most entries he's ever had from a Blackpool show. I think the last count was nearly 110 entries as a direct result of Blackpool show, which is unbelievable. Incidentally, the entries for the Who Dares Wins now have just smashed 850 entries out of a possible 1,500, which is great for Blackpool time of year and January. Mickey Essing says there needs to be more pigeon auctions in the show. I would agree. But I think there was, from my feedback, I think there was a lot more auctions this year in the show than there's been for a while, from what I've been told. Jack Lavender says, in my opinion, all sales around Blackpool pull people away from Winter Gardens. That's why the numbers gone down. I would agree. It's a very spread out concentration of people. Absolutely. Very spread out. Because there are probably 6 to 8 different auction venues, main ones. And and a lot of those in the hotels people are staying in. And some people didn't go into Blackpool itself until perhaps Sunday just to nip around. But like I said, I thought it was a good show. I thought it was a good show. I thought it was busy as I would expect. And, you know, it's not what a bad thing, Tom. It's not a bad thing, though, is it? I don't know what you mean, Tom. Let me know on that and we'll let you know. And we will talk about it. Right, so there's my kind of Blackpool stuff. So, we got 15 minutes left of the show. I want to talk about some other stuff. I'm starting to work on my diary for RPI moving forward. I'm working. Lee Davison, how are you? Good evening to you. Thank you for joining, Lee. I'm working on my diary for this year, and the reality is I have to work that diary out with my other stuff, non-RPI stuff. I'm going to start looking to put together what I'm covering. I had people come up to me at the show saying, are you going to be covering this year? Are you going to be covering that? Now, how it happens is this. I either say to someone, I would like to cover it, or people say, invite me to cover it. Believe it or not, I actually have never, last year I didn't go to anywhere where I wasn't invited. That's slightly different this year in that in some of the races I will have entries in. So I want your feedback on to where you would like to see me cover or RPI cover. Right? I would like to cover the one-off races that you want to see. I would like to cover more of them around the parts of the world. But my diary is kind of open and starting. The only thing I have in my diary fixed, absolute 100%, is the Who Dares Wins final on the 30th of August. That is it. So I want to know from you what you would like to see me cover. I've put out to people about doing loft reports and interviews. And the harsh reality is I haven't actually had a lot of people that want that publicity or want to be on video or whatever reason it is. So I would like feedback from you what you would like me to cover. Because I like them, and I, as you know, I think it's one of the big futures. I will be covering one-off races. Tell me what one-off races you would like me to cover, and we will see what we can do. I'm going to be putting together my diary over the next few months, and I would like to get it as scheduled as possible, because last year, towards the end of last year, was a mad busy year. I am going to be in China again in November. They're my only two things RPI related I have in my diary. So let me know. I also will be looking to cover a couple of non-racing pigeon things. I'm going to talk about this in forthcoming shows, but I think a way of getting people interested in racing pigeons could potentially be them starting with rollers, tipplers, tumblers. And I'm going to talk about that in another show. So I'm open to that as well. I will come back to the comments before we wrap up the show. I just want to get some more things on my list that I've got to talk about in the show. So, as I mentioned last week, I'm working on my plans for RPI going into 2020. Not just my diary, but my plans. And the harsh reality is this. I'm sitting back and I'm saying, right, what am I doing? Look, I'm an ideas guy. If you hadn't already picked it up, I'm an ideas guy. And I'm a good ideas guy, I like to think anyway. The trouble with being an ideas guy is you have some ideas, and the reality is you have perhaps too many ideas to take them into projects. So the harsh reality is this, that I will be dropping some of the things I previously talked about, but at the same time I will be continuing and developing others. The one thing that is absolutely set in stone is that RPI Live, this TV show, will continue every Monday at 8 o'clock, and it will up its game. I want it to become, by this time next year, a well-produced, not just me sitting here producing my own stuff. At the moment, tonight, everything's working fine, apart from this horrible background I've got with nothing in it, because we're supposed to be moving the house next Saturday. I want to up the game. I want to up the game in the outside broadcast. I want to use better equipment. I want to get it a better experience. To be, ultimately, the goal is to be like it is a TV show. I'm going to be doing a podcast. These shows are going to go into podcast format. Why am I doing that? Because podcasts are one of the most listened to or watched things on the internet. Podcasts are massive. I'm going to take this out there and I'm going to make it into a podcast with a couple of extra bits, because it has the potential for it to go more mainstream. One, it makes it easy for people to listen to me if they just want to listen. I know I heard at the weekend people listen to me on their way home from work or whatever. And podcasts are easy to get hold of. They're easy to subscribe. So every time that I put a new podcast in, you'll get it downloaded to your phone and you can instantly watch it. So I'm going the podcast route as well, in addition, as an add-on. That's definite. RPI Live is upping its game and continuing to do more things. That's the definite thing. There's some other stuff I'm not sure about yet and I'm working on. Which leads me to, again, over the weekend I had a few people ask me about the Pigeon Sport Future Foundation, the PSFF, and I had some people ask me about the European Eagle Owl project. Talking about the European Eagle Owl project first. The European Eagle Owl project was an idea that I liked, initially brought up by Johnny McWhirter to me, mentioned it to me. I said I'd like to help market that and get behind it. To clarify, it was never meant initially for it to be my thing. I was going to help Johnny get it going. It turned out at the time to be the kind of thing where I was helping coordinate it and what have you. And for many reasons, the time being the main one, the European Eagle Owl project is not something that I can continue with. Like I said to somebody only yesterday, it was not something that I actually was meant to be my thing. It was not something I meant to be leading. It was something that I was going to get behind and market as part of RPI, because I think it's still a good idea. But it has its bad sides. In the efforts we had of trying to bring people together talking about it, we had people saying, well, how many do we need to release to make this effective? No, that was never the point. You cannot legally release these birds in UK skies. So you're dealing with a mentality of you've got to approach things right. So in short, what I'm saying is this. I will not be continuing the European Eagle Owl project. It was Johnny McWhirter's brainchild. I haven't had time to speak to Johnny, but I will. What I would say is this. I think if done right and done officially and done above board, it could be a good thing to try and help with the raptor problem over a period of time. But like I said before, it was never meant to be my thing. And I will also be very honest and open. And I don't think necessarily my involvement with it, because of my polarizing nature, I don't think my direct involvement with it actually would help the project long term. Because I think I'm an easy target to be right up there at the height of running it. What it needs is somebody to take the reins with it and start organising it in a proper professional manner and help Johnny, if he still wants to do it, out there. You know, Johnny spoke to me about saying, look, there's a lot of negativity, let's leave it. A few people said, no, we don't want you to leave it, and that's fine, but there's a lot of people saying we don't want you to leave it, but at the same time not prepared to help and do anything. So this is what I'm saying. I will not be going forward with the European Eagle Owl project for many reasons. Time, I don't think I'm the right person to front it. I'm not. But what I am saying is, if somebody wants to take the reins and do it, I will absolutely 100% help promote it and market the initiative if it's being done right. 100% through RPI, I will support it and actually kind of go back to what I was aiming to do, how it should have been started, and market it and promote it and do that stuff through what we're doing with RPI, 100%. So that's that on the EE project. I had a few people ask me about it. That's one of the things and where I'm at, that ultimately some would say he's dropping it. I am, but actually the reality is it's never my thing to drop. I was only trying to get it out there and market it and get some fuel behind it. It needs somebody to take the lead. It needs somebody to do it right. If somebody does that, or a group of people do that, you have my whole support, and I will put everything I can with regard to RPI about promoting it. Moving on real quick, the Pigeon Sport Future Foundation is something that I was kind of 70-30 on continuing with, 70% in favour. I'm about 90% with continuing it. It's set up as a non-profit. It hasn't done anything yet. The European Eagle Owl project was going to be one of the first projects that's how it kind of happened. Set the European Eagle Owl project, make it official, bring it under the Pigeon Sport Future Foundation. I'm 90-10 in favour of carrying on with that, because I think it's actually something that can be done and help many people over many things and get some good initiatives going. But the reality is, if I continue with it and the Pigeon Sport Future Foundation continues as I do want it to, because it should continue. It should be an independent, non-RPI, non-RPRA body that is a non-profit, not-for-profit, to help the sport of pigeons. And when I say, and there's a reason it's called Pigeon Sport Future, not Racing Pigeon Sport, because like I said, there are other people that keep pigeons as a sport, and we want to include them as well. The reality of the PSFF is I'm going to need help to run that. That is not something I can run on my own. If something is easy, if somebody is interested in helping with the PSFF, like I said, it's set up as a limited by guarantee company, which is the first stage to become a charity of a long stage. It's a not-for-profit organisation. I've got the ideas that I think can help make it work, but I can't do it, nor would I want to do it on my own. So if you're interested in getting involved with the Pigeon Sport Future Foundation, let me know. So yeah, that's that. Right, what else have we got that I want to specifically talk about tonight? Right, I'm going to address one more thing. You've seen this video. You've seen me if you were at Blackpool at the Who Dares Win stand, maybe. 75% of my time was at the Who Dares Win stand. Why? Because here's the reality why. Some people have said, well, one particular person have said last week that the RPI show, the RPI Live, is becoming the Who Dares Wins Gary Tomlinson show. And I want to address it because I don't like things like that being said. The harsh reality is this. In the 10 months I've been doing this, I've done it for free. I love doing it. The fact we've still got 120 people watching now buzzes me. Going to Blackpool, getting that good feedback about what I'm doing, buzzes me. That's why I do it. But the reality is, this won't become like a paid for thing. And the reality is that Gary was the very first person to approach me back in April last year when he saw my first few things that he did. And he said, that's the guy I want to take me to the next level. So I didn't do anything for any money for Gary last year. He offered me petrol money, I refused, because I wanted to make a point to show what I could do. The reality is we do have a deal for me to promote RPI, to promote Who Dares Wins. Everything from covering the final race to all the graphic changes you see to the new website. We have a deal. That's a commercial deal, right? I will be doing more, not just with Gary, but with other people. That's just the way it is. I'm good at what I do. Gary saw what I was doing, and the numbers speak for themselves without sounding like I've got a big head. 850 entries by the last day of Blackpool. He had 720 entries last year. He's aiming for 1,500, which he will get this year. So when I had somebody say it's getting the Who Dares Win show and the Gary show, Gary is a tremendous pigeon flyer, has been for years, brought up with them. He knows as much about pigeons as anybody around. So when he comes on the show, he's doing it to help people out. But the reality is, Gary is not just a client of mine now, he's a friend. I actually get on better with Gary more than a lot of people. So he's not just a client, he's a friend. But when it comes to, then we say, you know what, you should put all your knowledge, because you don't race, in a video format. Things like this crop up. And at the end of the day, that's going to be it. Now, by this time next year, you will see me talking about other people and other stuff, because part of my plans with RPI is to be able to offer my services and do my thing, my marketing, branding stuff. So at the moment, the harsh reality is Gary is the only person I'm doing it with, but by the end of the year, that won't be the case. All right? So I hope that kind of explains what it's about. Yeah, so all good, I hope. Talking of which, what I really like about this is, like I said, you don't just buy this, you buy access to Gary. Who else would you like to see me try and do videos from? Anywhere in the world, in the UK, in Ireland, anybody. We've got another video plan. We've got some more videos planned with Gary, but you know what? I'd quite like to do other types of video. I really want to do the Iceheim video and take Brian May's video and get with Nigel Llewellyn and do an Iceheim video. I'd like to do a video compilation of some of the best one loft breeders around and flyers. I've got a lot of ideas, but who else would you like me to do videos about? Videos like this. Who would you like me to do? Let me know. Right, I've run out of time now. I had other stuff to talk about, but I want to try and keep it to the hour. But we've got a few important things to do. I'm going to go through comments now. General comments. Then I'm going to go and pick the winner of the DVD. And let me just check there wasn't anything else. Yeah, one more quick thing. If you would like RPI or the PSFF, assuming we continue, which I think we will, to help you, how can we help you moving forward? Because at the end of the day, it's not just about hundreds of people or thousands, as it was on that video, watching me on these videos and broadcasts. How can what I'm doing with RPI going into this new decade, how can that benefit you? What would other stuff you'd like to see happen? Let me know. Right, let's go through some comments, then we'll pick the winner, then we will wrap it up. Lee Fribbin says, what a very good show. It was a very good show. Not much stealing. Issues for traders. Didn't seem to be in groups of dodgy lads at the show as they always get. Well done to everybody involved. Good. You could actually get around when people went to the auctions, Tom Swift said. Bobby Gloop. The way breeding season now falls, wouldn't make more sense to have the shows in November. And no Haswell Plough auction Sunday in Winter Gardens. Mickey Hessing said very disappointed Luella did not have any stands. They had auctions, didn't they, but not stands. I remember many years ago they used to have massive stands, eh? Lara Mine. It's a good day for all. Tom Swift, yeah, true. Like, alright, there's a conversation going on between them. We won't cover that. I think the general get together and the opportunities to meet some good, genuine people make the show rather special than mounted to stalls and stands. I agree, Stephen. Absolutely. It was a good one to do. Stay in a great hotel, by the way. Don't all book it because I'm going to be booking it in the next few days for next year. But the Hampton Hotel, if you want to stay in a hotel that's nice rooms and outside, a little bit outside of Blackpool, takes you 10 minutes to get to Winter Gardens. The Hampton was really good. I liked it a lot. Rishon says, Night at the Stars, you can get any more people in the room. We went to a few of the sales and as many as we could get anyhow, and it's great. 4 hours in the Winter Gardens enough for us. Nice to get to other venues too. Adrian Bolter said, I was told 600 plus. Don't know in relation to cover your races. Also, Graham says, are the hotspots in Who's There's Wins live at all? They will be. One will be live from the actual venue, Kenny, and the others will be covered live on RPI, kind of like me covering the webcam, if that makes sense, like I did for the RPRA last year. Gary Smith, what's your view on one-off racing? I know you're a big fan, however, do you think we can have a big impact on the decline of club racing? Gary, I am going to physically, you're going to see me take a picture of that question, and we will cover that next week's show. Good topic to continue with. I'd like my friend Peter Dodd to have the DVD because it's his first year racing old birds and he's keen as mustard. Sean Hunt race was good watching it, Sean Haig says. Yeah, we'll see what happens with Wild Atlantic. I would love to cover it again. We will see. Loft reports are only as good as the decent ones, as Keith Mott on YouTube, and they're mostly made before I was even born. Jack Lavender says, P.S. People believe UK needs many more young boys starting with pigeons. As you say, the pigeon doesn't seem to sold with good value because people they don't want to spend and they keep flying pigeons. Sorry, says. I think there's a big disparity, Soren. I really do. I'm not sure how we do it, but we will keep working on it. How about doing liberations North Road at Newark and Wetherby and Ripon? I would be fine to do some liberations. I love seeing thousands of pigeons being liberated. Ron, I would love to do that. I don't know if we need permission or what, but we can find into that. Why can't you release on one in the UK as they are native in the country? It's illegal to release a European eagle owl, Mickey. Yeah. Pigeon racing is all give and no take as a young kid. It's all one weekend and kids want to be out playing. Yeah, let's go back to that. With eagle owls take too long to work, Brian says. How many people work for nothing, only fools? You have done great for our race and we're only trying to help novices. That's my goal. Absolutely. Completely agree. Right. Mark Evans, Budgie McLeod says would like to do who won the t-shirt competition. Don't know which competition you're talking about, Kyle. I actually put a group competition, a Facebook group, asking what competition I should offer, and then people posted a load of birds. I don't think I conducted. I don't think I conveyed it right. Jeffrey Abel says DVD with Sean Hunt would be good. Certainly not me. Gary Thomason, kids not feeding. Kids need feeding. Oh, absolutely, Sean. We all have to work for some money, eh? I'm trying your best with Pigeon Fancies, Mark. Well done. Thank you, Derek. It's Graham Boy here. Is on YouTube now. DVD, I would love hear what Gary has to say on widowhood. Cheers. Gary will be on the show next week, all being well. Alan Cowap, I haven't had chance to see your videos on Messenger yet, but I will catch up, I promise. Old people do need to help younger people with stock and racing and what have you. Absolutely, Soren, I completely agree. Right, really quickly, just talking about the messenger thing. I am way behind on Facebook. Keep saying it. Way behind. Can't keep up. If you would like to message me, the best way of doing it is on WhatsApp or text 07887 345 600. 07887 345 600. That is the best way. It comes through to this phone, and I do contact people back within 24 hours. I cannot keep up with the sheer amount of messages I get on Facebook. I apologise. I will try and catch up again, but I can't do it. Lorraine Butler's come in. Nice to meet you and your son yesterday. Lorraine, what a bubbly, lovely person. Came up to me and specifically thanked me for what I do with RPI, and it was great to meet you as well, Lorraine, and that makes me feel very happy, so thank you. Right, let's get this tied up, because I've just seen a message coming from Gabby that my dinner's ready, and I am starving, and who I'm sure other people are. Right, let's pick this DVD out. So what I'm going to do is this. We ran over and everything. I will, when I finish my dinner, pick at random. I will video it so you can see it's at random. A sharer of the TV show tonight to get one of the DVDs. I will do that within about the next hour or so. Right? Oh, Dilshad won one of the pigeons from the Van Roby's raffle. Excellent. Well done, mate. Well done. I've got some good ideas for lotteries and raffles and stuff. I've got some good ideas that I developed this weekend. I'll talk to you about that another time. Soren says, and also help young boys to give them youngsters to race, but I recommend it. Absolutely. Right. Okay, let's pick pick a winner. Let's run through these DVD things. Right, let's pick somebody. I'm running through them now. Yeah, Paul O'Neill. That's the thing with Gary. He doesn't competitively race anymore. So you're getting everything he knows, and anything that question you've got, he will answer. That's what we're trying to do and make this different. You know, like I said, you're not just buying a DVD. You're buying into Gary's question and answers. Right, I've picked my winner, folks. I hope you all agree. Don't be all paid off with me for not picking you. This is the danger of this stuff, that competitions, and it's all very subjective. Which is why I normally pick random ones, but I am picking the following as the winner of this DVD tonight. And the said person, the winner, says, I want this as I have just fostered a 10-year-old and we are both very keen on keeping races and thus would help our knowledge. I hope you agree, and if you don't, you're wrong. I think that in itself is a good enough reason to get one of these DVDs. So the winner is Jeffrey Abel. Jeffrey, you will have one of these coming to you. Let me know if you want the physical copy or the online copy as well. Jeffrey Abel wins that. He's just fostered a 10-year-old and they're both very keen on keeping racing pigeons. To me, that sounds like a great response. Trust me, it was random, but I think that's good. Right. Okay, so that's it for tonight. Thank you for watching. Lots more coming. I am going to catch up on Facebook. I promise. I just can't keep up. Just bombarded, mad busy. There's a few things we didn't speak about. They will go onto the list, and the picture that I took talking about some subjects. If there's specific subjects that you would like us to cover here on RPI Live, let me know. Remember, you can watch us on Facebook, on my timeline, on RPI's Facebook page, on our group, and by going to rpilive.com. I will pick the winner of the sharing competition for this after I've had my dinner and I've actually spoken to Gabby for at least 10 minutes over dinner. Thank you for watching. Blows me away that we've still got 100 people watching the show. And again, this is why I do it, and I want to continue and grow this thing more and more. And it's just nice to have a show without any internet problems. Thank you for watching, folks. Have a lovely rest of your evening. Be lucky. Keep flying, and I will catch you soon, if not before, on next week's show, 8 o'clock Mondays on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and on rpilive.com. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.